Okay, so now let's take a look at the inverse of a normal distribution using Excel. All right, so the Gordon family's electricity bill is normally distributed with a mean of $95 and a standard deviation of $23. Okay, so what we want to do first is we want to find the electric bill amount that separates the top 1% of electric bills. Well, if I'm going to separate the top 1%, that's in the upper tail of this normal distribution that's up here, the top 1%. So I'm looking then for the value of x. I'm looking for the value of x that has 1% in the upper tail, 1% up here. So I'm looking for 1% here, or 0.01 for an area, 0.01. Well, if we're looking for that, what we can do is, this is not a normal distribution question, but this is actually a inverse normal distribution question. So we have to use the inverse normal distribution. So we're going to go to Excel, and in Excel, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight cell A1. We're going to hit the FX button, and we're going to look for the statistical functions. So I'm going to scroll to statistical here, select statistical. And under statistical, I'm going to look for the norm dot inverse or norm dot inv. So I'm still going down to the ends where all the normal distribution stuff is. But instead of norm dot dist, that's the normal distribution, the one I've used before, I'm going to look at the norm dot inv, which is the inverse normal. What this does, let's click on it. What this does, if we give it a probability with a comma and then a mean and then a comma and a standard deviation, it'll actually give me the x value that separates the top 1%. But in order to get that, I can't give it the 0.01 because Excel only looks at the area to the left. So the area to the left here in this case is 1 minus 0.01 or 0.99, 0.99. So if I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to have to use the area of 0.99, which is the area to the left of the x value, not the area 0.01, which is the area to the right. All right, so let's go. So I'm going to do the norm.inv, click OK. And then for the probability, I'm going to type in a number between 0 and 1, and it has to be the corresponding area to the left, which in my case is going to be 0.99, so I'll type 0.99. And then for the mean, the next one here, I'm going to highlight this little box here where I can input the mean. And it says here that the mean is $95. So mean of $95, I'll put the 95. And then for the standard deviation now, let's highlight that. For the standard deviation, we said the standard deviation is 23. So I'll type in a standard deviation of 23. And here it's actually giving me the value here. If we take this and round it, this will be approximately $149. So that would be the X value that separates the bottom 99% of electric bills from the top 1%. That would be the answer for part A, would be approximately 149. So 149 would be the answer for part A. So $149 is the electric bill amount that separates the top 1% of the electric bills from all the rest. All right, let's take a look at part B. For part B, let's see what we have here. For part B, find the electric bill amount that separates the bottom 1% of electric bills. Well, to do that then, let's clear this out. Now they're asking me for the bottom 1%. The bottom 1% is down here. And if you're looking for the bottom, you're looking at the area to the left of whatever this is. We're looking at the bottom 1%. So we actually want 1% here. So this is going to be 1% here, which is actually 0.01 as an area. And we're looking for that particular X value that separates the bottom 1% from the top 99%. In this case, since I'm looking for the bottom 1%, I can actually just use Excel directly. All right, so let's go back. Let's put it in cell A2 now. In cell A2, I'm going to hit FX again. It's already on statistical. I'm going to scroll down to the norm.inv. Here's the norm.inv. Select it, click OK. And now, since I have 0.01 to the left, that's actually the probability that I'm going to type in. Because remember, Excel only gives you the area to the left, and it only takes the area to the left as an input. So I'm going to put in 0.01, the area to the left. The mean here is going to be 95 again, and the standard deviation once again is 23. So we click OK. And the X value that separates the bottom 1% is going to be approximately $41. So this X value is approximately 41. So that means the answer for part B, find the electric bill amount that separates the bottom 1%. That's going to be $41. So what that means is this. This is what we figured out so far. We figured out so far that only 1% of the electric bills in the Gordon family household are above $149. And only 1% of the electric bills in the Gordon house family or in the Gordon family household are below $41. Now let's do this last one here. Let's see. For the last one, we're looking for the 90th percentile. So the 90th percentile is the X value that separates the bottom 90%. So I want 90% back here. The bottom 90% from the top 10%. Once again, I have here the area to the left because a percentile would be the number of values that you, or the percentage of values that this particular value is larger than. So we're looking for the area to the left. So once again, this is direct use of Excel. We can come here, highlight this, click F of X once again. It's still on statistical because I've already used those. Scroll all the way down to norm.inv again. So we have norm.inv coming up. Norm.inv and click OK. So the probability, well, I have 90% to the left. 90% is 0.9 as a decimal. So the area would be 0.9. The mean is still 95. And the standard deviation is still 23. I click OK. The value that separates the bottom 90% from the top 10%, that value is going to be, oops, I lost it. That value is going to be approximately 124. So 124. So what that means is for part C, $124 represents the 90th percentile. So basically, 90% of the values are lower than $124 and 10% of the electric bills are above $124.